When I think of the Cadillac V brand, I typically think of a screaming supercharged V8 from the Cadillac CTS-V or the CT-5V Blackwing. But there was a very risky decision that Cadillac gave a try years ago, and that was the ATS-V with a twin turbocharged V6. Now, I know what most people think. Why would you buy the twin turbo V6 compared to the V8 car? Well, one, it's more affordable, but at the same time, I completely slept on this V6. This thing is an absolute powerhouse, and with bolt-ons from ZZperfomance, this thing makes over 600 wheel horsepower through a 6-speed manual transmission. So a Cadillac with turbo sounds and a ton of power. So was the ATS-V worthy of the V name? Let's go for a drive and find out. Hello and welcome to a Cadillac ATS-V. I'm super used to driving CTS-Vs. I've also driven the CT-5V Blackwing, which was an absolute animal. And also, in comparison to this, the CT-4 Blackwing. Now, the CT-4 Blackwing uses a twin turbo V6, but so did the ATS-V. Now, when the ATS-V came out, I'm gonna be real with you, I didn't quite know what to think of it because I was like, wait, is that really necessary? I mean, we already had the CTS-V that had a supercharged V8. Like, why would somebody go buy the twin turbo V6 instead? Like, it just didn't make any sense. Well, of course, the ATS-V was a little bit more affordable than the CTS-V. So what we have here is a ZZP full bolt-on ATS-V. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's a whole bunch of goodies. So there's this really incredible fuel system out in the back of the trunk that's very sleeperish. And that way you can run flex fuel, you can put E98 back there, you can do whatever you need to do. Any mix of ethanol, you can make it happen with this platform, with the ZZP kit, which is fantastic. This has charge pipes, downpipe, ZZP's catback exhaust. What's really cool about their catback is that the valve modes that work with the ATS-V work with their catback. So all the factory buttons all work with the valves. So if you're in tour mode or track mode or sport mode, whatever mode you're in, it's still gonna work the same way it did from the factory. It's also got a ZZP tune and also ZZP R&D lowering springs. They're working on the lowering springs, which is really cool that I get to drive something like that. Got to get the sense of feel of what's to come. With this car being full bolt-on with all the parts that I told you, what kind of horsepower does this twin turbocharged V6 make? It makes about 600 wheel horsepower in a Cadillac. Woo! But the ATS-V, I just remember when it first came out and all the journalists were raving about it. Like, they absolutely loved it. And I was like, is it really that good? A lot of people were saying it handles very good, it feels nimble. And at the same time, some people are like, yeah, but I don't like the way it sounds. Not a bad way to leave a red light. I think the exhaust setup on this car is what makes or breaks it. I've heard some pretty bad exhaust on the ATS-V, and that's probably what kept me away. I was like, no, I just don't want to drive it. No, it sounds horrible, stop. T4V, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, completely surprised me. I loved how it handled. I loved how nimble it felt. It had everything you'd want out of a sporty luxury car, and it made almost 500 horsepower out of this V6. But the problem was that the CT-5 Blackwing kind of overshadowed it because of the V8. You also have a nice Cadillac interior. You have a heads-up display telling you everything you need to know. You also have rev matching if you want to have it rev match for you. It's so weird seeing this logo, the Cadillac logo, and hearing a blow-off sound, right? Another thing, if you haven't noticed yet, with the rev matching is that this has a 6-speed manual transmission. I think it's really cool that they gave the option for a manual in a car like this. The seats are actually kind of stiff. That makes sense. Like, you can tell the bolstering on the back is really firm. I mean, it's meant to keep you in place. You kind of have to swag it a little bit to be a little bit more comfortable. This also has flat foot shifting, just like the newer cars, which I think is such a fantastic thing to have in modern cars with a manual transmission. Without having to use a standalone or anything along those lines to tell the car to do that. I love how it's just from factory and you don't have to stress about, you know, destroying your clutch. Okay, I see you. Woo! That is every bit of the 600 horsepower as advertised. Every bit of it. Man, this thing throws you back in your seat. It's also in a Toyo R888, so if it's spinning at all whatsoever, that shows that this thing's making the 600 horsepower for sure. The one thing about flat foot shifting is that you almost have to overcommit because you're so used to not doing it. So if you're a little aggressive, it's almost good, right? To be able to be like, okay, it's okay, keep your foot down, keep your foot down. Also, it keeps the car in boost, so you don't have to worry about that. Woo! Okay, I knew this thing was gonna be quick, but I did not expect it to be like this. This is really, really interesting. I've never felt a GM V6 like this. At least with like bolt-ons and a downpipe. It's weird when you have like a GM car and you're like, yeah, I have downpipes on it. It's like, no, isn't that supposed to be like 4 cylinders and German cars? And like, it's just really, really bizarre. Wow! Flat foot shifting, this thing is so gnarly. When you drive a turbo car and you don't flat foot, right? You have that nice delay to get your body ready for the next motion, right? Into the next gear. This thing is like, do you like boost, kind sir? We'll give you some more. That was awesome. So is the ATS-V worth looking at compared to the CTS-V? 100%. With the right parts, the right aftermarket support like ZZP, you get that. And it's not slow whatsoever, my guy. Personally, I definitely slept on this V6 by General Motors and Cadillac. And it's just a really interesting platform. You can definitely tell that the CT4V took a lot of lessons from the interior of the ATS-V. The CT4V definitely feels like an upgraded version of this by just that much. I think this car was a really gutsy move by Cadillac because they had already established that V8 brand with the V logo. And they're like, you know what? Let's see if we can make some more V cars, and it could go really bad. And thankfully it didn't. The ATS-V's legacy to this day is still pretty good. A lot of people go, oh yeah, you're talking about like the nimble one, right? A lot more people think the ATS-V and CT4V are more of the handling ones. Not that the CT5 Blackwing and the CTS-V never handled bad, but these always gave me, at least personal experience, more confidence around a track. But along with that, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button because it really helps me in this algorithmic world on YouTube. I upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.